So Mia Malkova stated on Twitter, just watched The Acolyte, and I think I can officially say I've been in better written Star Wars movies. Hey there, succulents. That was our cold open. Normally we do a little, hey, this week on the show, we're doing this, so stick around. So, but no, we start talking about
we're just going for it today.
Star Wars and porn, Star Wars and dicks, so what you do. So anyway, this week on Star Wars Sucks, we're getting close with clones. Not Mia Malkova close, but close with clones. And we see the rise of Jedi Master Bombad. So, let's stick around for this. Anyway, howdy, succulents. Welcome to Star Wars Sucks, your non-toxic, low-sodium Star Wars show that doesn't make you feel bad for not knowing that in Star Wars A New Hope, Princess Leia was held in detention block 2187. We all know that, of course. Detention block AA23, which is actually a reference to the short film by Arthur Lipsett, 2187. Which inspired George Lucas to make the film THX 1138. So it all comes together. And Finn's Stormtrooper designation is FN 2187.
I was literally just looking that up because we're going, I know that number. Why do I know that number?
Don't you love it? So Leia was in 2187, cell block AA23. And yeah, so it's just, this is what I love about Star Wars. All those little nerdy, little behind the scenes tidbit, like what was it? R2D2, Real 2, Dialogue 2. Those were written on the film canisters. That's where his name comes from. So it's anyway. I love Star Wars, and that's why I love Star Wars, for little stuff like that. Docking Bay 94. It's just like those little stupid things that have no impact on your day-to-day life. But it's just fun to know. And I guess that makes you a quote unquote real Star Wars fan if you know those things. I don't like that term, real Star Wars fan, but anyway, I think it just makes you a fan if you know. I don't know.
Fan is a fan.
Fan is a fan is a fan is a fan. Anyway, so we are the Circle of Nerds, and we absolutely do love Star Wars, obviously, even if we don't always like it. And today might be an example of us not liking it, but we still love it. It's just like, a sibling or a partner, you don't always like them, but you mostly always love them. Mostly. Anyway, so let's meet the team from the Outer Rim territory of Bostowine. Is Daddy Louie.
Hello, children.
You get closer and closer to the mic on that every single week. You're like, hello, children.
Hello, children.
And from parts unknown, it is T to the Oni.
Welcome back to the galaxy, everybody.
And special recognition to T to the Oni for doing the show this week. And you are ill. You are ill. So you are ride or die. I always thought that I was going to die at the keyboard doing the show or something similar to this, but you literally might.
I mean, let's hope not, but we'll see.
I hope not. I hope not, because that would suck. I don't know how we would explain that. And you're irreplaceable, so we couldn't. That would be it. We'd be done. No more.
Yeah. I could maybe find somebody to stuff me and just kind of prop me up, and I could just be here. But we'll figure that out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, we'll do that thing. So, and I am Tommy D, your more than slightly obnoxious Star Wars know-it-all. And so what are we doing here? So our mission is to watch all of the canon Star Wars films and TV shows in chronological order. We're going to break them down, connect some dots, and learn a little bit more about Star Wars together and a little bit more about ourselves. Because we've seen a lot of Star Wars, but all of us have not seen all of the Star Wars. So I think it's going to be fun.
You haven't seen all of the Star Wars? Is there something you haven't seen?
I have not. I have not seen all of Rebels. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've been itching to watch it more. I've only seen like the first 2-ish seasons, 3 seasons of Rebels. And man, it gets dark fast. But no, there's quite a bit of Star Wars stuff that I haven't seen And of course, 7 seasons of the seasons of the Clone Wars. I don't remember all of it.
Yeah.
So, it's nice to look at this with fresh eyes and to watch it in chronological order like this. So it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying this ride so far. So, all right. Warning, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen what we're going to be watching, if you have not done your homework like you were supposed to, then there may be some spoilers. And speaking of spoilers and homework, what was the homework? Well, we're going to be watching episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8 of season 1 of the Clone Wars. So these all came out between October and November of the year 2008, and they take place 22 BBY. And if you're not familiar with BBY, ABY, that means before the Battle of Yavin, and ABY is after the Battle of Yavin. So the events in Star Wars A New Hope, the first film that came out in 1977, they're considered year 0 on the chronological timeline. So anything that happens before that is BBY. Anything that happens after that is ABY. So when you do hear us referring to it, that's what the hell we're talking about. So this week, there was some really good Clone Trooper content. There was a mini arc about droids that was actually a little bit more than that. It was a mini arc more about the depth of Anakin's feelings disguised as 2 bad episodes about droids. It wasn't actually 2 bad episodes about droids. It was actually 2 mediocre episodes about the depth of Anakin's feelings. And we're going to get more into that. And there was the filler episode. This is probably universally accepted as a filler episode. So episode 5, which was Rookies, that was the highlight, I think, of this 4 episode bunch that we watched this week. So let's go around. Who wants to jump on?
I agree with you.
Jump on it.
Okay.
I'll go. Just because I don't think I know as much as you two do, because I fell asleep several times watching some of these episodes. So, the first one, Rookies, like you just said, definitely my favorite. I like, and we saw some of this in the first episode with Yoda. I think it's called Ambush. Starting to see the personalities of the clones and starting to really understand that they are more than just, blaster fodder. Right. And I think going forward, and this is a prediction, I guess, going forward for the show for me, because I've seen very little of Clone Wars. I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is getting to know these clones and having a relationship with these clones. Because in the live action movies, prior to the Clone Wars coming out and the Clone Wars cartoon, we only see the clones in battle sequences, in Attack of the Clones, the end of Attack of the Clones, and in Revenge of the Sith. So to us, that's what they was blaster fodder until the Clone Wars, until
nameless, faceless soldiers.
Right. And so now we're starting to have relationships with these characters. And I think going forward, that's what I'm most excited about.
You won't be disappointed.
The droid arc, I don't know.
Hold on. We'll get to it because.
Okay. All right, we'll just do that separately.
Yeah. We're going to do the droid arc separatly. We probably the Jar Jar Binks.
Not even talk about the Jar.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But no, I think we can. I think we'll be able to dive a little bit deeper on the droid arc. But Tony, I want to hear your thoughts on Rookies.
So I really like this episode. I agree with all the points that Louie made. I very much am looking forward to getting to know some characters that are not Force sensitive, that tend to be background people, but that have full, rich lives and experiences. I want to see that. I want to understand that. As much as I have enjoyed all of the live action stuff that I've watched and has come out recently, I mean, for me, I think my favorite is still Andor out of all those things, just because it was that. It was, hey, just because somebody isn't force sensitive and carries a lightsaber doesn't mean they don't have a great story arc.
Yes.
So I'm really enjoying that. And as you know, I recently bought a 5-book series all on Clone Troopers.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to going through and reading that. I'm a little bit hesitant to start just because I don't know whether or not any of that is going to spoil anything that we're going to see.
No, it's all legends. None of that is canon.
Cool.
However, there are things in that book series that you may recognize that have been picked up and dropped into the canon,
repurposed somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like before, I remember when we on our other show we were talking about what was it, Into the Garbage Chute, and we had been we were covering Bad Batch, and how I really kind of rather despised the Bad Batch, and I kept saying that it should have been this other
Live
story.
action, yeah.
No.
It
should have been. It should have been the story of what Tony's reading. Yeah. And then so Tony, as you're going through that journey, you might start seeing that as well. You'll see where the Bad Batch was kind of, maybe some things were pulled from that, but then anything Mandalorian related, you're going to see how much of that came from these books. So cool. All written by Karen Travis, the mother of Mandalore.
Very nice. The other thing that I will say I liked about this episode was that it didn't have the whiny droid voice, because that voice annoys the shit out of me.
Well, the commando droids, they're like, Roger, yeah. Yeah, they were
like, I understand that they're going to play it for comedy, and yeah, they did it even in the live action stuff in the movies. I get it, but there's just something about them being
well, right now
so fucking stupid. And then on top of that, having that voice, it just drives me insane. Like if we come across an episode that heavily features both them and Jar Jar, I'm going to have a problem. So I'm going to hope that we don't get that, but we'll see.
Well, there's a 3-episode arc that it's just 2 of the battle droids that are lost on a planet, and their interactions with each other, and they're coming to grow as individual droids, and you get basically a full hour and a half of nothing but the 2 of them.
I mean, that could be interesting for the storyline, at least. So
that's not true. That's not true at all. I want to hear things and hear.
Trying to get a reaction out of you, and it didn't work.
No, I got it, because he paused for a second. He was like, how can I say this and not sound like a jerk? How can I say this and still be kind of diplomatic? No, they just stay dumb. They don't get any better. Like you said, Tony, they're the comic relief.
Well, yeah, so that's my thoughts on that.
All right. So I really like this episode because this is the first time, it's the second time we actually see Rex, but it's the first time in the series that we see Rex and Cody and this really cool dynamic that they have. I like how Cody called Rex old boy, what you planning to open this door, old boy, and Rex, of course, Rex was a savage in this episode. He had jokes. He was breaking necks. I mean, he had the good plan. Cody's like, this is never going to work. Rex made it work. Rex made it happen because Rex is the man. And he one-shotted that giant eel, that gigantic rock eel. One-shotted it. Blam. Right in the eyeball. And ended up giving Echo, I think gave Echo the palm print because it was 5s and Echo.
I did recognize when they mentioned him by name. That was very exciting.
So we do have to do a remembering the fallen segment, because you know how we're going to start making our wall of clone troopers that get really, really fucked up. Cut up, man. Thoughts and prayers. You were eaten alive by a giant rock eel. So thoughts and prayers, brother clone. You were avenged by Captain Rex. We got to put him on a t-shirt. Again, he goes into the Hall of Remembrance, and we're gonna put him on a t-shirt because thoughts and prayers. And Heavy, making the ultimate sacrifice. I mean, Heavy. I mean, he took it to him. He grabbed that blaster, that giant Gatling blaster. I think it's like a Z9 or a Z7 or something like that. He handled his business, and he made the ultimate sacrifice.
You know, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Related to this episode. So we're watching these movies and shows in chronological order, storyline wise.
Yes.
But if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, like the first episode of like season 3 of this show is a flashback to some of these clones in training. Is that incorrect? Like, yeah, that's where we meet Heavy, and that's where we meet
like later
Echo,
on.
and yeah, I think it's like episode 1 of season 3, and it's called like training or something like that.
Oh no, that's not them.
It's not
the one with Yoda.
No. In season 3, episode 1.
Yes. I think
there's a flashback episode showing these clones in training.
Because they're wearing their little...
Right. Technically, wouldn't we need to have watched that one before this one?
Well, not if it's a flashback.
To keep in chronological order?
Not if it's a flashback.
Well, they don't really show it as a flashback.
I know, but it's... Do we really want to do that? Come on, man. Come on. Well,
and I shouldn't even know that yet. So when we get to that episode, I'll remember to give you shit then.
That's fine. You can give it. And
so this does...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, this does remind me of a point that I thought of last week and didn't bother to mention it. But yeah, when we watched the Clone Wars movie, you said it took place in between seasons of the show.
Yes.
Yet we were introduced to Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Which at this point we're just assumed to know right away. And it's like, but if she was only introduced here, but whatever.
So it all takes place during like 22 BBY.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they do jump around a little bit in the series, but that is still the first appearance of Ahsoka, first appearance of Rex.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing that all for the first time. The first appearance of Asajj Ventress outside of the micro series.
Basically everybody except Grievous.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. And I wish that unless we missed it or we didn't get to it yet. Oh no, it's not canon. I don't think. What? So Grievous's cough.
Oh no, that's in the micro series.
That's in the micro series, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I know exactly what you're gonna. Mm-hmm. And they didn't show that when we watched the micro series.
We still have 2 more parts. Have 2 more parts.
So I think we will get that. But
yeah, so hopefully
that's the non-canon version.
That is a non-canon, and it would be out of. It would be out of, the chronological order.
Yeah.
It's just and that's what's weird is because that he gets his cough,
and then 5 minutes later goes and captures Palpatine.
No, that's as he was bugging out. Well, yeah, that's right, with Palpatine. Yeah, he was bugging out with Palpatine. So he gets his cough in between episodes 2 and 3, in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. That's when he gets
literally like 5 seconds before.
Right. And then the Clone Wars series takes place in that same time frame between the two.
So I have an interesting question then, and this is slightly off topic, but in the Clone Wars, does Anakin never, in the cartoon Clone Wars, does Anakin never meet Grievous at all the entire series? Because when they meet on the bridge, that's the first time they've met.
I thought you'd be taller.
I thought you'd be taller. Yep.
Yeah. And as we were watching this in last week during the during the episode where they were on Grievous's ship.
Yep.
They got on his ship, and I was thinking about that. I was like, wait a minute, does he meet him here? But they don't. They, ships passing in the night.
And that's Dave Filoni's genius, right? If he can really keep that up for 7 straight seasons where Anakin and Grievous never actually meet, that's wild.
Yeah. So I think that's exactly what happens. Because that's Dave, and he's a motherfucker, man. He's our Lord and Savior, Dave Filoni. I need a button for him. I mean, applause isn't enough, though. All right, so that's episode 5, Rookies. Again, thoughts and prayers to our fallen, Cutup and Hevy. Well done, lads. You will be remembered. Moving on to the droids. So episode 5 and 6, droid downfall. I'm sorry, episode 6 and 7, droid downfall and duel of the droids. Bunch of shit happens. R2 gets captured. We got to go rescue R2.
So
there's nothing. Just like...
So I have a couple of questions.
We continue to see how badass of a droid R2 is, but that's real. Like, it's unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
But again, we're seeing that side of Anakin again. This is, yes, it was. These were booty episodes. They're just. If you don't see the depth, they're easy to call filler. Throw them away. You don't need to watch them. But there was a specific scene when Anakin and Obi-Wan says he's just a droid, and the camera does a close up of Anakin's fist balling up.
Mm-hmm.
For Anakin, and like he said at the end of Duel of the Droids. He's more than a droid. He's my friend. Again, we're seeing the depth of Anakin's compassion. Yes, he risked his entire fleet, his men, Ahsoka, and his own life to save a droid. And he pitched it like, well, he's got all the plans. He's got all of our tactical plans. Going to all of our schematics, all of our base locations. Anakin didn't give a shit about any of that. He couldn't care less. He was going to save his friend.
Yep. You're right. If you look at it from that point of view, like, yes, I kind of feel stupid that I didn't like it, but because you're right, but you're right. Like, in the overarching, like, it took 2 episodes of fluff for that to happen. But if you're really like, if Anakin Skywalker is one of your favorite characters or your favorite character, as he is for a lot of people, I could see how this is important, because you get to see, even if just for a couple of seconds, a different side of him.
Yeah, he's building on that. And you saw that dark moment when he was standing in front of that Trandoshan alone. Ahsoka wasn't there to check him. You could see it on his face. Like, when Anakin gets that like angry badger face, he's just like,
the oh shit.
It's like, that's exactly what it is. I think we should call it Anakin's oh shit face, because not like he's saying oh shit, but we're saying, oh shit, he's about to dip his toes into the dark side pool here and go ham out of love. It's like, my love is going to cause me to murder everyone here in order for me to get back my droids.
So I look at his relationship with R2 and I think of everything he's lost from when he was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, all the pain every time he has to even set foot on his home planet, and he has to think about what happened to his mother and everything. And R2 is the one final good connection he has to that.
And 3PO.
I think 3PO to a much lesser extent, because like he'd only ever really started building him. He hadn't finished him. It just wasn't the same thing.
Isn't that interesting though? That
he grew up with R2.
He had R2, but I do find that interesting that he is we hear C3PO say it so many times. Thank the maker. Anakin's the maker, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't seem to have that same connection. However, there is. Oh man, can we talk about it? Fuck it, we're gonna talk about it. There's that scene in Empire Strikes Back where Fett is about to blast on Chewbacca and 3PO, and Vader stops him from doing it. He physically reaches out and pushes Fett's gun down.
Interesting.
Could that be that he still feels he recognizes C3PO and that's some tinge of nostalgia, that a little bit of the light side peeking
So
through?
now you're assuming that in that moment of filming, George knew that Anakin had built 3PO.
So now
He had already thought of that idea for the origin of 3PO.
Had Dave Filoni written and directed that, yes, I would have said yes. But George Lucas makes shit up on the fucking fly. However, George did build the world. You know, he's a great world builder. So I don't know. I don't know if he had that in mind or not. I haven't really done a deep dive research on that as to why. I know there's been speculation over that. Like, why did Vader not let Fett blast them? Was it because of 3PO? I mean,
or was it because of Leia? Was Leia not in front of Chewbacca? Chewbacca was bringing up the rear, right?
But at that point, I think
R2.
he pushed away. Like, Chewie was on his own, and I think because he still had 3PO on his back.
Correct.
I'd have to
took
rewatch
him off
the
when they got in the Falcon.
Right.
But I think because R2 opened the door,
mm-hmm.
and I thought like Lando goes in first, Leia behind Lando, and Chewie brings up the rear with 3PO. So this is all in the carbon chamber. This is all that whole scene takes place when he starts freaking out.
Yes, and he like knocks a stormtrooper off the platform.
Yep, I know. Okay.
And Boba's about to, put some rounds down range, and Vader stops him from doing it. I don't know why. I don't know if that's been brought up or not. We'll have to look into that and check it out and see. But yeah, there's a lot of depth. The Anakin Vader character, there is a lot of depth there that I think gets glossed over. So, Louie, like you said, we got a little bit of it in these 2 episodes.
Oh.
Did we need 2 episodes to see it? I don't know.
That's a fair point. Now, for me, I will say it was nice to have the explanation of, hey, some reason of, hey, we never did wipe this destroyed.
Right.
And I will say that I did find it intriguing, at least, to think that a non-combatant droid could be a spy.
Yeah.
Like, that was interesting, and it's something that I'm curious if that ever comes up again in the future, because that's an interesting thought.
Well, we got in the movie, in the Clone Wars animated film, we had that protocol droid that was, a double agent. So we got to see that because he was working for Asajj. And then in this one, we had R3, is it S6 or 6S? R3 S6 or 6. Anyway, R3 S6, S6, S6. I want to say S6 because it sounds like S6. So I'm sure there's some lore behind that. But my question is, how the fuck did he get into the Republic service anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, like you got this droid in the middle of a group of high-ranking Jedi generals and a bunch of clones. Had that been like a bomb droid, that would have been it. Yeah. That would have been it. Like, series inspired by George Lucas. George Lucas, thank you. That would have been it. That would have been a wrap on the entire series right there.
Yep.
So that's what I want to know. What is the story behind R3S6 or 6S? Fuck, now I need to look it up. because I want to know now. I want to know, like, how did that damn droid get into? I mean, that's as deep as you could get. I mean, that was like the inner circle right there. You had Ahsoka, you had Anakin. I mean, everybody was just right there.
Yeah, and like it begs the question of, not only did you have that droid there, you had that droid there just at the right time after R2 got somehow taken out, which I have other questions about because, like, I mean, my understanding is that, the astromech droids help provide, life support and everything else to the ship. So how the fuck did Anakin disappear, not get found for a while, the droid's out, and yet somehow he's just fine?
Right. Right. So I'm looking
storytelling.
So I don't know. It's not really saying anything about where the name comes from. R3 is probably just the new model. So it takes place in the series' 6th episode. So I don't know if that has anything to do it. But it says here that R3's black and gold color scheme was inspired by Filoni's love of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Interesting.
There you go. There you go. All right. So one thing that I really do, there's a lot of things I do love about the Clone Wars, but one thing that I really love is the layers and the depth, like we're seeing right now. Louie, like, you'd said, if you look a little bit deeper.
Well, yeah, if you think about it from a different lens.
Right. We're seeing more of Anakin's struggle with attachment, which is a common theme throughout his entire career, is his struggle with attachment, which ultimately is, I think, the contributing factor to him going to the dark side, which he never really does. He never really fully gives into it.
Yeah,
actually,
I feel like
he's a product of Jedi
manipulation.
Jedi ignorance too. Like if Anakin and Padme had not been so scared that they would be caught, does any of this still happen? I think that Anakin's stress over losing Padme is very linked to him knowing how wrong it is that they're together to begin with.
Oh, absolutely.
But if there wasn't a problem with the two of them being together, if they could have been public with their relationship, which would have been against Jedi policy, however, ultimately their policy is what ended up killing all of them.
You know what? I think it might have actually been worse for them had they been public, because then people, Palpatine already knew.
Sure.
He knew.
He basically made it happen.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, the other agents, the other separatist agents, pretty much nobody made a move without Palpatine, but right. I still feel like people would have sent agents against Padme in order to get to Skywalker. Potentially. I don't know. Yeah. They would have had to gone off somewhere, but he always would have had that fear of loss. Because he lost his mom in Attack of the Clones, right? So this all takes place after Attack of the Clones. So he's still living with that grief.
Yeah.
That was probably never processed properly, because the Jedi are like, oh, you're not supposed to have attachments. Just, let it go. I think that was Yoda's advice at one point. You have to be able to let it go. And I'm like, okay, Yoda, you've never got ass, so maybe that's easy for you to say.
Well, this whole
until we find out that Grogu is actually his kid, and we're
right.
like, woo, you go, Yoda.
Him and Yaddle. Yoda and Yaddle. I want to see
honestly, I feel like, the series is, the season at least is over now, but this goes back to the Acolyte too. The whole thing of Ocean not being able to let go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very true.
And the Jedi, the Sith embrace that. They use that fear for power. and the Jedi suppress it, which I find very interesting. It's like the Jedi know the power of fear, but instead of learning, and this is something that Sherry had said too, it's like instead of learning how to harness it and to use it for good,
they're scared of it.
They're afraid of fear. The only thing to fear is fear itself. And the Jedi are afraid of fear. Instead of trying to conquer the fear, you hide from it, you suppress it, you don't acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
And we see how that works.
Fear is the path to the dark side.
Right. But they should take their own advice and not be afraid of the fear.
Correct.
They shouldn't be fearful of the fear.
That's right. Don't fear the fear. Don't fear the Reaper. All right. So, episode 8, Bombad Jedi. We see the rise of Darth Jar Jar, or as he was called, Jedi Master Bombad. So, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, I will rarely say this. It's a filler and can be skipped. However, Tony, you had mentioned something about how we don't get to see Padme be a badass. She was kind of a badass in this. I mean, she fucked up a bunch of droids, took their guns. She kicked some ass in this episode.
She did, and I respect that. And as much as I agree that this is a filler episode and that they can definitely be skipped, and as much as I don't like the character of Jar Jar, I will say it was refreshing to see him try to step up.
Okay.
Like, yes, he fucks up a lot of shit in this episode and causes half the problems that they run into. But at least as opposed to we've seen him in live action, he's not a coward. He's willing to step up and do what he can. So minor points for that.
You know what? That is a great point, Tony. That is a great point. He did step up and he threw himself headlong into the action to save Padme. He was a hero. Absolutely, 100%. So that is, yeah. Yep, I agree. Louie?
Good job, Jar Jar. Good job.
That's all you got?
I mean, I hated it. I fell asleep twice. Yeah, it's bad. I agree. I mean, I guess again, looking at it through a different lens, we do get to see him kind of like his growth as a character, right? Because the first time we're introduced to him, he's a big giant coward. Mm-hmm. Even in the Battle of Naboo, he lucked his way through, what he did in this, and he was still scared even in that. And this, he definitely stepped up. So, sure.
But it was just like maybe we could have seen it in a different light, though. I mean,
whatever.
I mean, Tony, I agree with you. I think if you really look at his actions, he tried to communicate with the swamp when they first got there, tried to communicate with the denizens of that swamp because he's a swampy guy. Didn't work out. And I did like when he found the robe in the closet and, he's like, oh, this looks like a Jedi robe. Who could have left this here? It's like, oh, we know who left that Jedi robe in there. Mm-hmm. So they don't have cars to get busy in the back seat of, but they've got some Nubian starfighters, right, to get busy in. So that was a little interesting. Okay. Anyway. But yeah, it's like he did. He climbed up the vines, up that tall tower. I mean, he went for it. I mean, he did. He went for it. So, and Padme whooped some ass. She got herself. She was not the damsel in distress. She got herself out of her cuffs. We get to see her in bondage again.
Good job, Padme. Thank you. Next.
Seriously, come on, man. Yes, it's a filler episode, but
it was rough.
We do get to see. Look, Padme was being a badass. We got to see again. She rescued herself pretty much, and Jar Jar made the attempt. So bravery we got to see a little growth for Jar Jar. We got to see more Padme being a badass in her little tighty whitey. But as I was watching it, it's funny because like the animation, I mean the style of it is really cool. Like I like the painterly style of it, that look. But the animation, it doesn't really hold up, especially when they're running, because she looked like PlayStation 1 Lara Croft running across that bridge. Like, oh. So it gets better though. Obviously over time it gets better. So, all right. So 3 worth a watch, 1 potentially skip it.
I would skip the last one, the Jar Jar one. I don't feel like I got anything out of that. Even with that little bit of growth from Jar Jar, like he's just not. I know going forward, he's not an impactful character on the series. So,
what are you talking about? He causes all of it. He's literally the reason that everything happens. He is Darth Jar Jar. He is Darth Banks. Louie. How could you say he's not impactful? Do you even Star Wars, bro? Do you even Star Wars? He's the key to everything.
Fault. It's not his fault.
He's the one that made the motion in the Senate.
I know, but that wasn't his fault. That's what they told him to do.
But he was
manipulated into doing it.
He could have said no. Jar Jar
thinks that he could have.
He could have, but he wouldn't because he wants to be everybody's friend. He's a good guy. Well, I want to see a whole series with Jar Jar.
Good job, Jar Jar.
All right.
Good job.
All right. So, homework for next week. Season 1, episode 9, 10, 11, and 12. So it's going to be more getting to know the clones, getting to know this new universe. So just
one of my favorite episodes that I've seen is in this next batch. So
is it really?
I'm excited for it. Yeah.
Ooh, can you say which one? I mean, do you want to say which one or
the Lair of Grievous?
Oh yeah.
That's a good episode.
It is a good episode. That is a good episode.
Yeah, I looked ahead and I was like, ooh.
So let me see. What do we got? We've got Cloak of Darkness, the Lair of Grievous, Dooku Captured, and the Gungan General.
Yeah. Freaking Gungans.
All right. So, Succulents, if you want to watch along with us, those are the episodes to watch. So, episode 9, 10, 11, and 12. So, please check those out. That is your homework. And if you want to check out the rest of the season and what we'll be watching, head on over to our website, circleofnerds.com/the SWS show. We've got our roadmap up there so you can kind of look ahead if you wanted to even watch a little more to jump ahead of where we are. So before we get out of here, we got to do our obligatory pimping. So please do check us out on all social media at the SWS show. There's not a whole lot going on there yet, but we'll get there. So it's, gotta crawl before you can walk. And at this point, I'm still just kind of rolling around in my crib. I'm not even doing any crawling yet. So, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So, but anyway, follow us preemptively as we load our channels with content. Por favor. So
you said load.
Where's my? There it is. All right. So check us out on all social media at the SWS show, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform, or if you're checking us out on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll be putting some clips up there pretty soon too. So, and if you'd like to get some sweet merch, head on over to circleofnerds.com/merch, and you can check out some of our merch. I think we've only got like 1 or 2 Star Wars Sucks designs up there. But we've got some posters of the crew. We've got some really cool wanted posters of us. We got to get a Tony wanted poster. We don't have one for him yet, so I'll make one for you. So, all right, that's it. You guys got anything on the way out?
No, looking forward to this next batch.
Louie? You're like,
No, I don't have anything. I'm trying to think of my schedule. I was like, no, I don't have anything coming up.
Nothing going on. Nothing you're painting. I know you're painting your tiki turtles right now.
Yeah,
But,
no, I don't have anything next week. No.
Well, hey, you know what? Post some of your progress photos on our social media.
Yeah, I'll post a picture of this thing I'm painting right now.
No, you won't. You won't do it.
Well, I'm not done with it.
Well, I know, but I mean,
done.
No, post some pictures now so people can see like the before and after, like see the progress, the work in progress.
All right, I'll take it. Where's my?
So it's not Star Wars related, but it's something that we're doing. So Daddy Louie is a damn good painter, great artist. So so check out our social media. Again, the SWS show, and you can check out this really cool Teenage Mutant Ninja Tiki Turtle thing that Daddy Louie is working on. That was supposed to be a Christmas present from last Christmas that he ended up getting like a month ago. Because I never mail shit out.
It's
all right.
Cool.
So that's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. And as always, my little succulents, if no one does anything nice for you, do something nice to yourself. And we are going to see you all next week. Bye.